Hi, my name is Gabriela from TulipArt Designs, and on this channel we are getting creative. In one of my previous videos I showed you how to transfer coloring page or outlines on a watercolor paper, and in today's video I want to show you how you can use watercolor in a most fun and relaxing way and bring this into this. So if you are ready, grab your materials and let's get started. Hi, so in one of my previous videos I showed you how you can transfer illustration like this that is just printed on a simple just normal paper, so you have the outlines and how you can transfer them on a watercolor paper. So I will link the video below, and today I want to show you a very relaxing way how to make this as a real illustration once you already have the inked lines. This is my original, that's the project that I want to show you how to complete. Here I have to warn you that I am using wet in wet technique. That's extremely relaxing for fun, and I am always having a lot of fun with it. So with this technique you can imagine that we are probably gonna have slightly different result, because we are painting with water and pigment, and we just let the paint do its job and we are letting it go. We cannot get a perfect illustration every single time. So with this technique each illustration will be unique and original. So now I want to tell you about the supplies. I have a long round brush from Princeton, and I also have a bigger size, a number 10 snap brush from Princeton. Then my watercolor paper is from Arches, and I use cold press. I have my Mary blue watercolors. I have extra palette here on the top for just in case I want to mix extra colors. I have 2 jars of water and some paper towel to clean my brushes. And I will start with my background, then I will do the grass. The next thing I will do will be the mushroom, and I will end up with the ladybug. So for the background I will use number 10 brush. I will spray my watercolors so they are pretty wet and ready to be used. And then for the background I am gonna use some yellow ochre, also burnt sienna a little bit, and burnt umber, and I will put just a little bit of red touches, so the background will relate also to the ladybug. And what I do first is to add water on my paper, so just clean water, and I just put more than enough, and then if it's necessary I will lift up some of the water so I don't have puddles. And I'm using wet on wet technique for this one, which means that my paper will be very wet and I will go in with the wet paint, so my brush will be nicely wet and filled with paint. like this, and then I go on the other side. Right now I am putting more water than I actually need, just because while I am putting water here, my first part will start drying. So that's why I am putting a bit more, to make sure that I will have water all over my background. Okay, like this. And I am just trying this oval shape on the top, just to make it more interesting, but you can also keep it squarish or like a splash, something I really like to do sometimes. Okay, and now that my background is very well wet, how to check if you have enough water or too less water? So first thing you do is turn your paper to the side, and if you see that there is a pool here on the bottom, you are gonna use your paper towel to dry your brush and pick that extra water that is creating the water pool here. So like this, and you pick the water until you don't have any puddle there, like this. Okay, so then I will grab some yellow ochre and start throwing in the paint like this. And also here. And you can see how the paint just starts bleeding around in the water. And you have to work a bit faster with this technique, because once your wet background starts drying, the paint will not be able to bleed, and it will stay just where you touch with your brush. But if we want a nice blend, then we need this really wet surface. And then I am just, you know, tapping with my brush. I grab more paint. So I grab more paint and throw it in. And don't be scared if you make it too dark, because when the paint dries, it will dry lighter than it's on your paper. So I am not even trying to create a shape. I'm just using two different colors and putting them in like this. Maybe a bit darker here around the ladybug. Maybe here. And then, as I told you, I wanted to bring in just a little bit of this red. just like this, and I think that's gonna be enough. And now, before this is completely dry, I think I will just continue with the grass. Then you will see how the boat will start bleeding. But if you don't want this effect, then I recommend you for this to wait until it's completely dry. I am not really a waiting person, and if you are following me, you probably already know this. But I don't mind if these two bleeds, so I will just go in with some water, so the same step as I already did. First I will wet like this, and then I will grab some golden green, sorry, and then throw it in. So I think that's the hardest part about this, is just to let it go, and like enjoy this whole process as a creative, instead of focusing on all the details. And of course you can focus all the details, that's not something you can't do. But for me it's always more about, okay, do I need these details? And if I start adding details, then I just never stop. So I really like enjoying these nice techniques and creating such nice illustrations. And with this technique, remember that if you paint two of these, even though you have the same outlines, you will get completely different results, and that's okay. Okay, now for the mushroom and the ladybug, I will wait until my background is completely dry. For this I have a heating tool to speed up the process, but if you don't have one, just go grab a tea or something else just to drink, and then you will continue. Okay, now I'm switching to my long round brush number 8, and I will wet my whole mushroom. And again, you can check if you have too much water or too less. Remember that this is something that you learn. I mean, how to control the water. You can learn with just more and more practicing. So it's, if you don't get it right the first time, that's absolutely fine. It's important that you just turn your page on the side, and if you have a pool here on the bottom, you dry your brush, you lift up this extra water, you do it until you have nice and wet surface. Then I will grab some burnt umber on my brush, and I will start tapping on the edges like this. And then also here. And you can see how the paint bleeds. And I will go one more time with some extra paint. Like this, and then I will grab some yellow ochre without cleaning my brush, just because I wanted to mix the both colors, and because I'm lazy I'm just messing around with my watercolors, but it's okay. You can always grab this mess and clean it on the paper towel. Wash your brush and pick some extra. So now I am just adding a little bit of this yellow ochre to create more interesting tones, and just a little bit more of this burnt umber here, because this part is under it and it's in the shadow, so it's darker. And also under my Ladybug it will be darker. So I am not really creating shadow, but I'm just adding this dark color, and it just bleeds in the rest, just like this. So as you can see, it's quite nice and easy, and as always it's so fun to see how this paint just moves around. For the Ladybug I will just go directly with my red and not add water, because I really want a nice and vibrant color here. And here, because my mushroom is not dry enough, if you touched it, I don't know if you can see, but my red just bleeds a little bit in the brown. So if you don't want such thing, you have to wait for the mushroom to dry, or you just have to make sure you don't touch the brown because it's still wet. Okay, now I will wait for this to dry and add some last details with my pens. So we are gonna use the Pigma brush to just make the black dots and the head of the Ladybug. Maybe her legs, like this, and we can add a little bit of thick lines on the bottom. If you want to do this, I recommend that you always add the thick lines only on the bottom side, and then you choose left or right. So like this. The next step will be adding some jelly roll pen. I have different sizes, so let's just go for 0.8, and I will just add some lines, and I will try to not overdo it, so I will not draw all the outlines, but I will just add just somewhere like here in the corner, maybe here a little bit in the center, then this corner, and a little bit here. Then I will add some white for these white spots of the mushroom, like this. So you can see that this brings some light into the illustration, and it just makes it more alive. I don't know, for me it's always this light details with the white brush. Oh, sorry, pen. So like this. And then we can add a little bit of lines here on the top, so it looks like a reflection. So let's say like this, and then I will add a little bit in the grass, and you can add these white details where your darkest parts are, otherwise it will be not visible. And maybe I can add some details on the brush, the mushroom itself. Why I keep saying brush, I don't know. Like this. So I think that's it. I hope this video was helpful, you learned something new with me today, you enjoyed it and you had a lot of fun. Don't forget that the outlines of the illustrations are part of my ink and color book. It's for free and you can download it from my Patreon page. I will link it below so you can get it and start creating immediately. If you like my video, just consider subscribing and push the button for the notifications so you will not miss any video. Thank you so much for watching and being here for me. See you next week. Bye!